Versatile Mage. Chapter 151. Old Friends, New Acquaintances. Today is the time for you all to demonstrate your own abilities. First, I'd like to introduce the 7 main characters of today. They are the new summoner students. Dean Co didn't have much to say, and he didn't let other teachers talk after him. He firmly went right into today's event. Maybe there were a couple of new students holding on to the attitude of laying low in the beginning, and thus not wanting to participate in the beast battle competition this time. However, after they heard that speech, perhaps the majority of them were no longer able to hold on to that same thought. They had won against all of their competitors during their high school magic exams, so why did they have to hold on their tails now? The school won't give those rare resources to you for no reason, especially when you've done nothing. In this institution, you had to compete, harshly compete. The 7 brothers of the Good Evas walked onto the tall stage under the shouts of the audience. Perhaps there are a lot of people who are dissatisfied with this. Why should these summoner students become the focal point of the entire school the second they enter the school? Don't worry, if you defeat them, you'll be the real main characters of today. Dean Co declared loudly. The entire arena began to erupt, especially the new students. They were all impatiently wanting to jump onto the stage and fight a war. Hey, how come it's you? In the designated seating area for the Earth Elemental students, a sweet and gentle-looking girl was filled with astonishment as she looked towards the summoner students on the stage. Xiaomian, is there anyone you know? Li Junwei, who had shamelessly sat next to her, raised his eyebrow. Ah, I guess you can't say that I know him. Qin Xiaomian shook her head. She really didn't. Back when the guy had come to her master's shop to awaken, he probably forgot the appearance of the girl apprentice who was present. However, what Qin Xiaomian was astonished about was that the youth who was recommended by a judge from the magic courts was actually a student at Pearl Institute like her. Master, Qin Xiaomian hurriedly fished out her phone as she sent a text message to her master, Guo Liu. What is it, my apprentice? The awakening master Guo Liu quickly replied. I found the young intermediate magician that came to us for awakening a year ago, precisely the one that was recommended by the magic court. Qin Xiaomian typed her reply very quickly. Where, aren't you in school? Yes. He is actually one of the new students in Pearl Institute. Furthermore, he seems to be studying the summoning element. Holy crap, this kid only awakened the summoning element a year ago, and he relied on that exact element to enter the Pearl Institute. Guo Liu replied back excitedly. Yes, this person is strong. Then go and get to know him and enter a relationship. Most of the people from the magic courts have unlimited potential for future prospects. Master, what are you saying? Qin Xiaomian's small face turned red. Her mouth began to quiver. All of this was naturally seen by Li Junwei's eyes. Li Junwei's gaze immediately locked onto the only person among the 7 summoner students who he knew, and his face immediately froze. Qin Xiaomian is my dish. Whoever dares to fight with Li Junwei, about it, will die a painful death. It's him, Humph. In the same area of the earth element, a boy whose body was clearly a bit chubby immediately turned gloomy. This person was Luo Song. He would never forget Mo Fan's face. However, Luo Song did not want to meddle with Mo Fan due to today's situation. A person who was an intermediate mage like him when they entered the school was definitely a person who was hard to deal with. Luo Song understood that he needed to take it slow with Mo Fan. Furthermore, Luo Song didn't plan on participating in the beast battle competition. If he was to use his true strength, then he could single-handedly annihilate all of the summoned beasts. On the other side of the arena, in the lightning area, a guy with his hair standing up opened his eyes wide. He didn't have a bit of confidence as he looked at the person in the middle of the 7 people on the stage. Zhu Zhaoting, what's wrong? A girl sitting next to him couldn't help but ask. Zhu Zhaoting. The girl pushed Zhu Zhaoting's arm. Zhu Zhaoting regained his senses, but the astonishment from before left a hint of dullness on his face. What's wrong? The girl asked worriedly. Nothing. I happened to see my old classmate, Zhu Zhaoting replied slowly. Old classmate? Are you saying one of the 7 new summoner students is your old classmate? If that's the case, there shouldn't be a need for you to look as if you lost your soul, the girl told him smartly. You don't know about him. That's why you didn't react like me, Zhu Zhaoting answered with a pained face. Then why don't you tell me? Although the summoning element is special, and could be considered the strongest element at the primary level, it doesn't mean that he will definitely be stronger than us in the future. Our lightning element has never been afraid of any other elements, the girl said with pride. Zhu Zhaoting shook his head. In that case, when I knew him, he didn't have the summoning element. Didn't have the summoning element. I don't The prideful girl suddenly realized something. The expression on her face became the same as Zhu Zhaoting from before, filled with disbelief. You're saying? His main element isn't the summoning element. He is an intermediate magician. Zhu Zhaoting nodded, his gaze once again landing on Mo Fan. To be honest, Zhu Zhaoting had refused to accept Mo Fan in the past. He had thought of himself as the elite of his entire generation. However, Zhu Zhaoting no longer had that kind of mindset. Whether it was the performance Mo Fan had made during the practicals, the display of dual elements at the Mu family, or the calm-headed actions he made during the calamity, they were all things Zhu Zhaoting wasn't able to do. And now, Mo Fan had entered the Pearl Institute as a summoner student. Zhu Zhaoting really wished that person wasn't Mo Fan. He tried to disbelieve it many times, but after he confirmed it was indeed Mo Fan, Zhu Zhaoting had no choice but to accept this incredible thing. Then what element did he have before? I heard that the intermediate magic requires a very complex array of stars in their nebula. Even if someone broke through the intermediate level, it doesn't mean they will be able to use intermediate magic. He shouldn't be able to use the intermediate spells, right? The girl urgently asked. Zhu Zhaoting shook his head without replying. Zhu Zhaoting didn't want to reveal too many things regarding Mo Fan. Since Mo Fan decided to conceal his other elements and only display his summoning element, he must have his own reasons. If he revealed it, then he would be disrespecting the person who once saved the people of Bo City. The girl noticed that Zhu Zhaoting didn't want to talk about the things in the past, and whispered reassuringly, since you haven't seen him for more than a year, then his summoning element must have been recent. His strength shouldn't be all that. Yeah, shouldn't be too strong, Zhu Zhaoting agreed, but his voice was unconvinced. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.